Welcome. Scott here. Here is a quick boss guide for the upcoming Livonia Plus event, Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 7. Before I proceed further, here is a quick overview on how Transcendence works. For any Transcendence stages, your party will get boosted stats if you bring a burst unit for the fight. To access Dimensions and Transcendence, you need to clear up to Tier 5 of Dimensions and Entropy. There are 3 stages that you need to clear for the fight. There are 2 crucibles that you need to clear first before you can access the main gate. The main gate will require you to bring only the characters that you have used for the crucibles. You can't use any of the characters locked to the tier for other tiers unless you unlock them. Firstly, let's break down the requirements of the crucibles. All Livonia orbs are fatal and they are important mechanics that you should watch out for this Transcendence fight. Do take note that Livonia auras for crucibles are the standard versions and they are not the restrictive ones that you face in the plus versions. For the left crucible or crucible 1, you will be fighting 2 glow lizards. The glow lizard has 10 million HP each. The turn requirements are 60 and you need to bring a blue crystal unit. The orb requires you to use an ability that deal at least 4 HP attacks. For the right crucible or crucible 2, you will be fighting 3 ghost brothers. The ghost brother has 10 million HP. The turn requirement is 60 and you need to bring a red crystal unit. The orb requires you deal damage off a debuff, buff or special effect. Upon clearing both crucibles, you will be able to access the main reckoning stage or the middle gate. You will be fighting a new enemy type, the murder weapon. The boss has 15 million HP each. The turn count for the fight is 60 and the HP requirements is 10,000. The orb will appear at the start of the fight, disappears at the 79% and reappears at 49%. To uptick the orb, you need to use an ability that restores 20% max HP. It will uptick by 3 per unit healed. Before I continue further, here is a small disclaimer clause for the video. The guide is written based on the time that the event for this stage was released for the Japanese version. Please do note that it is possible that the boss fight mechanics might differ when the actual event is released in global. Let's cover on the mechanics of the first crucible. You need to bring a blue crystal unit for the stage and units that can inflict 4 HP attacks using a single ability. Firstly, let's cover the orb triggers. At the start of the fight, the orb will begin at the count of 15. It is a non-cancelable orb. At the first glance, the orb may seem to be a tough requirement to meet. But with the recent C90 awakenings and character reworks, there are a lot of units that can deal 4 HP dumps in an attack. The orb is designed to the strength of the featured BT unit, Locke. I have listed down a small list of units that have the abilities that can uptick the orb. They are Locke, Sid, Prompto, Cater, Queen, Zell, Noelle, Noctis and Machina. Now let's talk a bit about the boss key mechanics. The boss will buff itself with stats boost at the 79% and 49% with Dread Lord. When the aura is activated, the battle camera will pan onto the lizard. The lizards will also gain lots of brave with guard resonance and start to emitting an orange aura when it is active. While the aura is active, the lizards will gain an additional brave damage resistance of 75% while boost its offensive capabilities with 50% HP damage up and 50% speed up. To remove the aura, you need to break them. Keep their brave in check with brave control, using defense ignore skills, gravity shaving or instant break are very useful utility to break them. Once the aura is broken, the other lizard will use guard resonance on its following turn. This will continue with them alternating turns to do this. The boss is actually quite squishy as they have a relative low HP base and you probably be able to finish the fight before even they pose a threat. The lizards are pretty fast thanks to the 50% speed boost from guard resonance, so it is important to keep them broken and delay their turns to maximize your damage. If you kill one of the lizards early, the surviving lizard will enrage with major stats boosts. So try to target and kill them together. Now, let's cover the second crucible. For this crucible, you need to bring a red crystal unit. You will be fighting 3 ghost brothers whose turns are always framed. They will be immune to launch, delay and turn deletions. They are also immune to delay from breaks. To uptick the orb, you need to deal HP damage off a debuff, buff or special effect. For HP damage that triggers off a debuff, you can use Firion, Emperor, Maria, Leon, Vanille, Kater, Ace and Trey. For HP damage that triggers off a special effect, you can use Garnet, Vivi, and Core. The boss doesn't have any major HP attacks other than the Dark Bargain. The real enemy is actually the Tight Orb. So constantly upkeep your traps debuffs. If you kill the 2 of the ghosts early, the surviving ghost will enrage with Wail, which gives its major offensive stats boost. With the 2 crucibles out of the way, let's focus on the main reckoning stage. You will be restricted to use 6 of the units that you used for the earlier crucible stages. Here is a quick overview of the fight. You will be fighting 2 murder weapon. They have 15 million HP each and have no major resistances. On the screen, you will see a timeline of the triggers that you need to watch out for. To uptick the orb, you need to use an ability to heal 20% of your unit's max HP. Do note that HP regen doesn't count to uptick the orb. Examples of units that reasonably uptick the orb well is Firion, Maria, Locke, Sid, Queen, Lyud, Garnet, Kate Sith and Lena. The orb will also uptick when the boss take a turn. The orb will activate at the start of the fight, disappears at the 79% and reappears at the 49% HP threshold. When the orb is active, there will be a 30% HP poison aura effect. The aura will be removed once the orb is deactivating. The boss will gain a key mechanic called Took a Defensive Posture. It will activate on the following HP thresholds: 79%, 49%, and 29%. It won't reactivate if the boss are still in defensive posture stance. When the stance is active, the boss will be emitting a yellow aura. While the stance is active, the boss will gain a further boost of 300% defense. The stance will dissipate after you have taken 20 actions of one of the following. 1. Allowing the boss to take a turn. 2. Dealing brave damage that ignores defense. I have list downs the units that have this utility on the screen for your quick reference. Locke's BT effect will allows your party to easily do so. 3. Player recovers at least 1% of max HP with an ability. At the 29% HP threshold, both murder weapon will trigger the Swing Rod Brave attack on a random target, which will lower the duration of buffs by 4. So do take note of that. You have noticed that I didn't mention any HP attacks on the screen because the boss actually doesn't have any notable HP attacks other than the standard single target HP attack. The real enemy is actually the orb and the HP requirements. Lots of the JP players actually save a burst heal call before they deal the finishing blow to the boss so that they can meet that HP requirements. Removal of HP passives might be useful here. On the screen you will see the triggers for the Livonia Plus auras. The boss will gain 200% defense boost at the start of the fight and 300% defense boost at the 79% HP. The max brave damage reduction auras are 80% while the max brave gain reductions aura is 30%. As usual, try to focus on lowering their defense and brave damage resistance with defense down debuffs and brave damage up calls. The boss will also gain an additional 300% defense stats boost when they are in the defense stance posture. Other than upkeeping defense down debuffs on the bosses, having defense ignore abilities skills or keeping their brave under control will help a lot to ensure that you have means to break them. We have come to the final section of the boss guide. Now let's look into the boss mechanics in detail. As mentioned earlier, the boss will gain yellow aura when it activates its defensive posture at the 79%, 49%, and 29% HP thresholds. The aura won't get reactivated if the aura is active. When the aura is active, the boss will gain an additional 300% defense boost. The stance will dissipate after you have taken 20 actions of one of the following. 1. Allowing the boss to take a turn. 2. Dealing brave damage that ignores defense. 3. Player recovers at least 1% of max HP with an ability. When the condition is met, you will see the message defensives crumbled. Let's analyze the boss' other key attacks. The boss will use Magic Scythe when it is targeting all. The attack is an AoE Brave attack that inflicts a frame debuff that inflicts 50% Brave damage down for 5 turns. The boss will start off using this move at the start of the fight. The boss has a Bold Trident ability that grants itself a framed buff that boosts its Brave damage up for 5 turns. This will allow the boss to gain massive Brave with its Brave attacks. So do focus on avoiding getting broken by them so you can keep their Brave under control. The boss has a single Brave attack called Swing Rod that will reduce his buff's duration by 4 turns. It is limited to 3 uses from 100% to 50% and another 3 uses from the 49% to 0%. At the 29% HP threshold, it will be scripted to use this move at a random target. Generally, as long as you space your buffs and keep the boss Brave in check, this fight shouldn't be too difficult. With the recent C90 awakenings and heavy damage dealers like Machina, Noel, Noctis, and Lock in the Fold, this fight feels like a cakewalk and the fight will be probably over even before you realize. Do take note of the orb and the HP requirements when you finish the fight. If your roster is adequately built, try to save your heavy hard hitters for the future Transcendence tiers. This is one of the easiest Transcendence tiers in the game. Personally, I will be saving them for the future harder tiers. I have come to the end of the guide. Hopefully, this will help you. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you are looking forward future content like this, please subscribe to my channel for future related content. Good luck and bye.